And welcome to this week's edition of Two Coaches, One Grizz. Today we got a little bit of NBA All-Star action. We got some college basketball, some fireworks going on there. Little football situations here and there to close it up. But we are starting with this weekend's action in college basketball this weekend. Coach, what do you got for me on that front?
Well, this past weekend we had a game between Michigan and Wisconsin, which the after effects of the game
more interesting than
were
the game.
A little bit bigger than what happened during the game. Wisconsin was pretty much in control of the whole game, and at the end of the game, I guess the Michigan head coach, Juwan Howard, the former Miami Heat guy, took exception to a timeout that was called by Wisconsin. Tempers were flaring, shots were fired, slaps, etc., etc. And again, then this is the second time that Juwan does jump in to this type of situation where he has a confrontation where things could boil over.
So this is the way I see it with this situation, right? It was a double-digit lead. There's no need to call a timeout there. I get, maybe on the Wisconsin coach's side, he, the excuse was, I need my guys needed to set up or whatever
coach,
the case may be.
They had the second string backcourt in. They pressed them 3 times. They had 3 turnovers.
Listen, where it went sideways is, hey, you can tell, right? You've been coached for, since you coached Moses, so you know what's the situation.
No, Moses didn't play for me.
Anyway, but the opposing coach's demeanor, right? Like you leave it alone. You talk to him afterwards. Like you can communicate with him after.
Coach,
the fact.
I'm covering the spread. Coach, I need to cover the spread for my boosters. I can't let those guys down. We got to make sure we cover the spread.
That was the original sin.
What do you mean?
I will say this. As a head coach, you are a leader, especially at that level, right? And, cameras are always on, eyes are always on you. You need to handle it with class. You deal with it behind closed doors. But Juwan Howard, he's got the hood in him, Coach.
Yeah, Coach, but he's got to put the hood to the side. I mean,
that's Fab Five right there, player.
We are a Power 5 college basketball team.
Marquee program.
Now, you could be frustrated.
You have to represent correctly.
He could be frustrated because this season has not turned out the way they were supposed to go, because they were supposed to be one of the top 10 teams in the nation. They had national championship aspirations, and they've gone to crap.
Mediocre.
Okay, at best. That's being...
They're, 14 and 11 right now?
Again, mediocre at best.
Yeah. No, I get it.
Okay, especially and when we're talking Wolverine basketball. Wolverine basketball has been somewhat of a good program. They've gone to Final Fours. They've played in championship situations. They've always been an elite blue blood program. So again, they had a good recruiting class. Everything was set up for them to have a good year. Things are not working out. He's getting his butt whooped. Yeah, I'm sorry. My backcourt, if I can't get the snap from the center to the quarterback and we've got 2 consecutive fumbles, we're not calling timeout? We're not changing something? We're not going to go, hey, listen.
I hear you. I'm just saying, like, you get how it's perceived. It happens. Again, original sin, let the guy walk. You talk to him later.
Right. Again, you can mention something, but don't make it.
Now, the optics, I will say, when things went awry, if you will, right? Now, Wisconsin head coach is like standing at front court, oh, what happened? What happened? Not my fault.
No, he stopped him. He stopped him to talk to him because he was like, no, man, what do you mean? Relax. That's not how it went down. And again, that guy's never been an issue person, the guy from Wisconsin. So always been a very even-tempered guy. He took his butt whoopings a couple years ago when their team wasn't too good. So again, they were too lenient with Juwan Howard. Suspending him for 5 games.
You think so?
5 games? Listen, to be honest with you, he should have been done for this season. Let him know, listen, we're going to sit you out for the rest of the season. He's got a good assistant coach in Phil Martelli. Okay, he was a good assistant coach. He was a head coach of a Division I program. Knows his stuff. Let him run out the season. At the end of the year, all right, listen, we'll lift the suspension. It's your second time. We're not going to fire you, but you are on a short leash.
Yeah, listen, I get it. If they had to suspend him for the rest of the season, there would have been no argument on my part. I think the 5 games was good. I don't think he should have lost his job by any stretch of the imagination. But yes, when you go based on past transgressions, yeah, like, okay, you up the situation a little bit. Now, what I do think they messed up was they didn't at least, suspend Greg Gard for a game or two.
But he didn't do anything. Coach, he didn't do anything.
He poked the bear, Coach.
No, he did not, Coach. He went to shake hands. The guy told him something. He goes, "Well, bro," and he was talking to him, and that's when
don't grab a guy. Everybody here has a reaction.
The guy took off his mask, and that's when he started. Again, if you tell me something while we're shaking hands, I'm gonna stop and go, "Wait, Coach, hold on. What do you mean? No, we didn't." And it's not I didn't grab you by the arm. He didn't jostle him. He didn't grab him and stop him. He was still in front of him when he grabbed his bicep or his tricep. It wasn't like he yoked him.
We're getting anatomical here.
Yeah, I mean, we're shaking hands. He didn't yoke him. I mean,
I'm good with the 5-game suspension. I think it's solid because they'll have him for tournament play.
No, screw him. He should be out until next year.
I disagree with that, but I also wouldn't. I wouldn't have argued. Guy. I wouldn't have argued. Oh, I'm anything but lenient. But I wouldn't have argued if they had him out for the rest of the year. I'm happy that they didn't, pull the trigger on any firing or situation. But I do think that Greg Gard, give him a game or two. Let it look copacetic across the board. That's the only misstep I think that the Big Ten had there.
But like I said, Greg Gard didn't throw any blows. Juwan Howard, again, if it stops at a screaming contest, okay. But he slapped the other guy on the side of the face. If they slapped you.
It's a fight.
Exactly.
Yes. No, I get it.
Okay. The guy slapped him. So, sorry. No.
So you think it should have been more? You think it should have been done for the season?
No. Again, yes. You're out of the Big Ten championship. And if they go to the Big Dance, you're watching. Sorry.
Yeah.
That we cannot have that as our head coach. Our head coach cannot act that way. And if you do,
I agree 1,000%.
So then there's severe consequences. I'm not going to fire you, but I'm letting you know this is strike 2. And if we go through this again, you're done. Automatic. Don't even worry about leaving with the team. We'll figure it out and get on another bus. Because we can't. And can you imagine? Okay, what happens now to those other kids? Your kids, his kids that fight. What happens to them?
Oh no,
now again, they get suspended, and you're the leader. You are the leader of those young men,
and that we agree on. Yes, sir.
If it becomes a bench clearing, bro. What if people start jumping out of the stands? Think about all the things.
Malice at the palace.
Of course. Just think of what can happen. You got kids, man. You've got college age students. Maybe a few of them had a few drinks. Maybe
the blasphemy.
Exactly. They're hitting you up. And here we go.
That's my coach.
Exactly. And here we go.
No, I hear you. I get it. I think it was right on par for Juwan. You say that it should have been more, should have been for the season. I'm good with it. Don't think he should have been fired. Do think, and as everybody else kind of agrees, hey, give him a game, give him a couple games, for inciting the situation. Grizz is over here, little quiet, taking in all the information.
Just waiting for you guys to finish.
Oh, no, please, sir. Jump in.
Nah, I think both are right and wrong. I think the Wisconsin guy should have got one game at least. I think he should have felt the temperature in the room and not even approached him. Juwan wanted to do the drive-by, and he insinuated that. Having said that, I think he needed to be suspended for the Big Ten tournament, at least 2, because of the prior year having a problem. So now we have a second incident. We're having a situation happening after a year again. And let me also say that both of them in the press conference did not do a good job of putting the situation down. It felt like both coaches elevated it. That's why I'm saying I think he deserves one game, but Juwan Howard should not be swinging at anybody, because if it's not an open slap and it's a punch, he's fired. What do you think your kids are going to do after a scrum? Going to defend your coach. So I don't think even the kids, even if they threw punches, kind of should even get anything.
Shouldn't have gotten to that point. Right.
It shouldn't get to that point. And you guys are leaders of men, like you said. Shouldn't even have this. He's been a little bit frustrated, you're right, with a team that should have been at least competing for a Big Ten championship at the very minimum. And they've been very bad in certain times. And you get frustrated. But once again, the unwritten rules of all these sports is hilarious to me. That, these guys got to press because you got to play to the whistle, to the end of the game. And so then, okay, I'm going to call timeouts because that's part of the game too, like you said. And I don't like that. And I think people, if this is only happening because you're having a frustration here and you couldn't compose yourself when you needed to at the right time. It's just, to me, laughable that these stupid arguments and fights happen over the dumbest, pettiest things. You know what I'm saying? It's just, what are you going to do? Once again, don't put your hands on anybody. Even if it's just to touch them, don't do that. Don't swing on anybody. And these are your head coaches. It's not looking good. And I think it'll help Wisconsin because they already were like the sleeper team to go into the tournament. And they're going to have that kind of like edge on them. Michigan, we'll see if the edge, I think they're going to fade out.
Correct. That's my
that's how I see that.
They're going to deflate. They have a big game this weekend, and we'll discuss that in a few minutes. And we'll see how much they have left in the tank.
So, as we state, I think it was an okay suspension. The Grizz says at least Big Ten championship, and the old grizzled vet over here.
Yeah, to me, it would be the Big Ten because I don't think they're going to make it to the March Madness, so it would be the rest of the season. Or you shouldn't even coach the NIT if they got invited. Just take the year off, buddy. What's 5 games? You're going to let this guy come back for a couple games in the Big Ten, maybe one game get out. I just think it's like, hey, all right, we're not going to fire you. Take the rest of the season and think about what you've done. And
that's exactly.
And you said you're not. Now he came out with a statement today saying,
apologizing. He was back.
The usual.
Correct.
The statement in the post.
I got to get with my PR.
I do think that was handled correctly.
Of course it was.
I think
he
it
has
was
no choice.
Right. No,
he already knows. He already knows.
He could have done it at the press conference, like, hey, it was my bad swinging on something, like.
Yes.
But he said, no, to be honest with you, I think I don't like the timeout.
Right.
Well, to be honest, you should have swung at someone.
All right, so
I'm a big fan of the guy. The guy was on our team during the LeBron years coaching. I have big praise for Jawan, man. He should have been with us when Pat Riley offered him a contract, and the last second he ditched. He went back to Washington. Hey, I have, I'm a big fan of the Fab Five. Grew up with all that, but nah, man, don't hit people.
All right, so let's move into the AP Top 25 here. Gonzaga. All right, they're up at number 1 again here. They're rolling downhill here. We're about a week and a half, 2 weeks away from some conference play here, from some tournament. 2 weeks. 2 weeks from some tournament play. Things are starting to heat up. It's looking interesting. Coach, what do you got here? Obviously, you were a big fan of SEC play last week. I think that holds true going into this week as well.
Well, we've got some good games coming up this weekend, which is going to say a lot. It's all for seeding. Kentucky's in a weird situation because their 2 starting guards are sitting out. They played a great game last weekend and they ended up winning. Auburn lost at Florida. Tight game. Tomorrow night you're gonna have Duke versus Virginia. Virginia's starting to turn on. Virginia's starting to play good defense.
They swept the Kings.
They're starting to play really, really good basketball. Amazing. So Virginia's going to be one of those teams going into the ACC tournament that if they're able to get through it, get up there, they're going to make a little noise in the tournament. They're going to be interesting because, again, their defense is phenomenal. You have an LSU at Kentucky, which I just mentioned, the backcourt situation. We have to see if both guards can play for Kentucky. That's important. The young man's name is Ty. He's an excellent point guard. He does a good job with the freshmen. Real good. And he is one of their premier players. And right now he's out with an injury. So is the other guard. It's Ty Washington and Xavier Wheeler. They both sat out last game. And again, they have a super senior guard that came in and played well. They're a good team going into the tournament. And I think that if these kids can get healthy and Calipari can get away with sitting them a little bit.
There were smoke and mirrors here in tournament play.
He did try to play Washington the other night because the kid said, I'm ready to play. And he had to,
wasn't very effective.
No, he had to pull him out quick. So again, he wants to give him time to make sure he gets healthy. And the last game tomorrow night to look at is Rutgers at Michigan. Rutgers is playing good basketball. They're going to be at Michigan. We'll see how Michigan can respond after what happened and how they play without Jawan on the sideline. You have Ohio State versus Illinois on Thursday. Huge game in the Big Ten. That one has a lot of implications. Illinois has dropped a couple of games, but they should be well, and they should do a good job in that game. You have UCLA visiting Oregon. UCLA, again, is kind of running over the Pac-12. Oregon has started playing better as of late, but I don't think they have enough gas in their tank. And then you got the Zags at San Francisco. That's going to say a little bit of how the Zags play in their WCC tournament. Then on Saturday, you got a big slate. You got a big game, big weekend. You have Kansas against Baylor. That's going to say a lot in the Big 12. Baylor won last night by 2 points against Oklahoma State. I don't think Baylor is gelling yet without their big man who's out for the rest of the season. That's going to tell a lot this weekend.
Yeah, and you brought that up. That was something that I was going to make a point of. You know, they're holding at 10. They're on a 2-game winning streak, but like you said, their margin of victory, like they're just not physically imposing or dominant as they were before. And you could tell that they're kind of trying to still figure their way through this because, you know, yes, you know, they're playing mid-tier competition, but you're going to get everybody's best shot once you get into tournament play. I still think, and I think you would agree with this, they still make it into a tournament, but you know, without their big man, it might be quick and early out.
Right, unless they're able to find the right chemistry with the guy who's taking over at center, it's going to be difficult for them to even get to repeat the Final Four, which they look strong. Them and Gonzaga were the two teams that you thought would make it to the Final Four as they've been playing this year. But with this young man getting hurt, he's a big part of what they do. With that being said, Auburn plays at Tennessee, which is a quick turnaround after losing this weekend to Florida. That's again a big game for them to see if they can get back on track. You've got Kentucky at Arkansas. Arkansas is playing at Florida tonight. I took Arkansas in that game. Florida's up right now by 3. So again, that's another good game for Kentucky to get better adjusted with their backups, and it's huge because going into the tournament, if you got your starters playing well and the backup have played in big games, that gives you a lot of momentum going in, right. Good experience, et cetera, et cetera. Purdue's playing Michigan State. Michigan State's not looking very well. They've been fading as of late.
They're down 25 right now to Iowa.
Iowa's killing them. And then this weekend, to finish everything off, you got the Zags playing at St. Mary, yep. Which that should be a good game.
That one's circled for me.
And we'll see how the Zags look against St. Mary. Yeah, St. Mary's going to take the ball out of the air. They're going to slow things down, try to play at a snail's pace.
Again, Zags at number 1 right now in the AP Top 25. They got a 16-game winning streak. St. Mary's, they're ranked 23rd at the moment with a 2-game win streak. So, as Grizz said, that's a game to circle and see where they're at there.
And in the Big East, you're going to have Seton Hall playing Xavier, which they are 2 of the top 4 teams in the Big East. Villanova is still the cream of the crop there. So we'll see how that pans out.
Yeah, Villanova ranked at 8 right now at the moment, in 5-game winning streak.
They've got a big game tonight. They're playing at Connecticut.
And the best dressed coach in the game.
They've got a big game against Connecticut tonight.
They're one of my Final Four dark horses.
Connecticut's playing really good basketball. UConn basketball seems to have turned the corner again.
I'm glad they're back. I love the Huskies.
They're playing really, really well.
Huskies at 21 right now.
So like you said, right now, old school Big East, Connecticut versus Villanova right now.
Correct.
Very interesting. Very interesting going forward. Yeah, so, you know, we're looking at it. It's going to be interesting. Obviously, like you said, this weekend's going to be, you know, a test for several teams, see where they're at in their conference, as well as kind of like a preview of what may happen, you know, going forward in that conference play. You know, Auburn, cream of the crop right now as well. They're ranked number 3, had a loss this past weekend, but you know, looking good overall there. And what do you think is going to play out as we go forward into tournament play? Like, where do you think they're going to be seated when it's all said and done?
Well, I mean, I do think that Auburn's going to end up being a 1 seed going into the tournament. They They have every chance, every opportunity to be a good one. However, I do think that the gauntlet that they're playing in the SEC
It's a grind.
It's going to take away a little bit from them, and then you start playing 2 games in 4 nights, and that tournament, it's in itself, the 64 tournament, or 68 now.
I think they're built for that, though.
It's one of those. So again, I love Bruce Pearl. I think I think he does a great job coaching. I think they'll make a deep run.
Yeah.
Again, I don't know. I think it's them and Kentucky in the SEC. Mm-hmm. And I think Kentucky's the other team that's going to bring a nice run. I really like. I think Calipari's group.
Yeah, and you've said it
is looking really well.
He plays his best, and he's doing great under the radar because this Kentucky team wasn't one of those number one starting the year and with amazing talent. He's got obviously still amazing freshmen, but it's been under the radar, and I think that's perfect for what they have. So winner to me, I think if Kentucky wins out and if they win the SEC tournament, I think they have a shot at a 1 seed.
Right.
So it's between those two for the one.
Correct. Agreed. 100%.
Zags will get a 1 seed, okay?
Yes.
And Kansas, obviously, they win out. They're going to be a 1 seed. And I think the other potential 1 seed, I think, would be Purdue.
Okay. I think.
Because Arizona is number 2 right now.
Yeah, but I think Arizona.
Remember that.
Arizona's going to have a chance at a number 1.
I do too, but I'm saying, what do you think the Big Ten or the Pac-12 gets more love? I think the Big Ten gets more love.
Big Ten more love, right? Like
in this
Big Ten and SEC, I think, are the best two.
Yes. Okay. However, I think that they'll give Arizona a shot at the 1, and then they'll either pick between a Kansas and a Purdue. Yeah. Just because Purdue has more losses.
But Arizona has to win out.
Yes.
If you say Lay wins the Pac-12 tournament, I don't think they got to win.
No. Agreed.
Yeah, no, definitely because it's just not as deep of a conference, right? You're not running that gauntlet like we just spoke about.
You only got
the Big Ten either, because again
you got Pac-12.
You've got the I'm sorry, and the Big 12 was top heavy.
It started out looking good, but they've just all the teams have killed each other. So, like, I thought Iowa State earlier in the year was going to be awesome. They have like a 4-9 record now in the conference, and they still have a chance to get in. They're like on the bubble.
They'll get in.
Like, there's teams that are even because they respect the conference. That's how you keep saying the ACC's down. Canes have a I think 12-4 or something like that, 11-4 in the conference, and they're not even talked about in the same. Like I said, haven't been ranked the whole year.
Ken Palm has ranked 66 right now. So
like we're barely making the tournament in Lenardi's latest bubble watch.
Yeah, no, that's gonna be something to watch definitely there. And like you said, bubble team for the homers here.
Yeah, the only lock he has is Duke. Everybody else should be in would be Wake Forest and Notre Dame, and Miami, Carolina, VTech, Virginia, all with work to do. It's just crazy that the ACC used to get 9 people, 10 people out of that league, and here we are with 1 lock.
Yeah, this year they have not been good at all.
No, sir. All right, let's go ahead and let's jump into the All-Star action in the NBA. Staying with a little basketball here. All-Star game. Team LeBron surviving the All-Star game, if you will, 163 to 160 against Team Durant.
I thought it was perfect. That game was great for an All-Star game. Every quarter meant something the way they have it set up. You finish at 163 is your target score, so you have no clock, so you have urgency on who's going to get there first. I think this is the way it should be from here on out, at least until we have something else to complain about that game.
It's just... It feels like a just glorified like Harlem Globetrotters game to me on both ends. There were 7 passes. I just remember like tuning in. There's 7 passes going on.
It's different to see
and
the
Team
game.
Durant's just standing there watching the ball go back and forth. Like, hurry up and shoot, man. Like,
but you don't have the same in a Pro Bowl. There's no highlight like there was with Steph Curry shooting from the logo and turning around before the shot goes in, and the entire place going out of their mind. And he just was on fire, shot 16 threes. I mean, come on. Guys, like, that to me was one of the best All-Star games I've ever seen. And I'm not a big All-Star game fan. I'm just saying that at least makes me watch it. The Pro Bowl is like, forgot the game was on. And I'm like, oh, it's the 4th quarter with 3 minutes to go. It's dreadful to see flag football, not even.
Flag football. Yeah. That's great.
Yeah. Yeah, to me, the only All-Star game that I ever really watch or pay attention to is the baseball.
Yeah,
because that's the only one that really
it's still the closest one that they because the game allows it to be that way.
Yeah, the game doesn't change.
Yeah, I mean the guy they're gonna probably like throw right down the middle in one of those and let the guy hit a little bit more. But at the end of the day, I mean, you're not like changing the way you play to not get hurt in baseball, and in basketball you just don't want to play tough defense or clobber someone.
You don't take the charges.
Yeah, no charges, 0 charges. So yeah, and I'll say this, even the other way, obviously, if they didn't have every quarter mean something, they only really play defense in the last 5 minutes of a close game. If it's close, within like 5 points, now it's like, hey, let's play defense for 4 or 5 minutes. But what I'm saying is it's still a fun watch, I think. And Steph Curry was out of his mind. I wish they could just have that same fun in the dunk contest because that was the opposite of fun.
Steph Curry had 50 points in the game. That's just...
Yeah, but he started hitting threes.
16 threes.
He just
he only had 1, 2.
Yeah.
He's like, I'm just shooting threes this game, dude. And he should have broke the record. He was looking for it. He wanted it.
Yeah, he played 36 minutes, 50 points, 16 threes.
He's from Akron, too, so it's perfect for him. And LeBron got the last game-winning shot, worked out for him. You got to give it to LeBron. He knows how to pick a team.
Well, so what else? Talk to me about that. I know you had some off air. You had some choice words about the dunk contest.
I just said it's terrible. It was the worst dunk contest I've ever seen. Go find one worse. You know what? You want to find Nate Robinson taking 25 attempts? Okay, I'll give you that one. But this was terrible. The first dunk attempt by Greg Anthony's kid. He comes out, I'm going to look cool and all this. Cole Anthony. Yo, Greg comes out with the Timbs. Oh, we'll put it on the Timbs. Hey, how about having the laces on right, bro? And taking about 5 minutes to put on your shoes. I mean, you got topping on the thing going, hey, bro, I got time. Looking at like, hey, let's go. Your other opponents are like, yo, let's move this. And then after that show, you're going to miss the dunk? No, you got to give me a dunk. Come on. Kept missing these dunks, bro. These kids. Oh, terrible. I don't need to see this. Why are we watching this? Every dunk's been performed. I don't need to see this anymore. They should just have replays of the old dunk contest on the big screen. That's it. You have the 3-point contest with Karl Anthony Towns winning. That's awesome to me.
Yeah, big man winning it. That's pretty dope.
That's cool. That was cool.
And even if it's not him, the three's still much more fun. You got those when they go on fire to win it at the end, bro. Oh, so much fun. But this dunk contest, come on, bro. What are we doing? What are we doing, bro? You're jumping on people that you can't make a dunk. I don't even want to start because this is one of my gripes again. This just pisses me off. You have dunks that are like your game-winning end of the contest dunk, and you're trying it on the first time. First of all, the first 2 guys miss. So all you got to do is just put a dunk in on your first time. You're going to get 8. It's all about strategy. These kids have no strategy. No strategy. It's like, all right, you're going to do something. Let's have a little strategy. You watch the 3-point contest. This guy takes it from the right side. He takes it from the left. I got the money rack on the fourth. They got strategy. They're trying. What's your strategy, kid? Oh, let me have the best dunk I can, and then I can't make it? Oh, we're downhill from here.
What do you finish?
We're downhill from here.
What do you finish with?
Yeah, you give me the 10 first. You can't even drop the 10, and now you're going to give me a couple 8s? No, I don't want to see this. Get that out of my screen. Come on. Get out of here.
I think we closed the segment out on that one, ladies and gentlemen. And we're back with some football talk. Not the football talk that you would, think of. We're going to talk some
the NFL.
Yeah, we're going to talk some USFL right now. As we speak, they're going through their first night of the draft. Coach, we were just talking about this off air. You got the draft breakdown here. Let's talk about that for a minute, so that people understand what's going on with this new iteration of the USFL.
It's interesting how they've done this. They've broken it down into 2 days. Day 1, they're going to go rounds 1 through 12. The first round, everybody takes quarterbacks. Rounds 2 through 4, they're going to go edge rushers, D ends. 5 through 7 will be offensive tackles. 8 through 11 is quarterbacks, and then cornerbacks. And then round 12, back to quarterbacks again. Then tomorrow will be day 2. They'll go 13 through 17 for the wide receivers. 18 and 19 is safeties. Round 20 is for centers. 21 inside linebackers. 22 and 23, offensive guards. Rounds 24 through 26, D tackles and nose tackles. Rounds 27 and 28, running backs and fullbacks. Fullbacks back. Wow. Rounds 27 and 28, running backs and fullbacks, I'm sorry. 29 31, outside linebackers. Round 32, the kickers. Punters in 33. 34 will be tight ends and H-backs. And last but not least will be the long snappers in round 35.
So right off the hit, I'm looking at this, right? And I'm looking at the breakdowns that they have here. Okay? So I can already see people trying to jump through hoops here with, like, for example, the edge rusher designation. Somebody's going to try to take a stud linebacker, right, in rounds 2 through 4 and be like, what are you talking about? That's an edge rusher, right? But he may be like, may have split time between a middle linebacker and an outside linebacker, right?
I mean, again, and if they fit into that mold, yes, they're definitely going to take them like that. The only thing, like, and it's funny because I'm going through the quarterbacks here, and there's only 2 quarterbacks I think. Well, I recognize 3. 2 of the quarterbacks. Number 1 is Shea Patterson.
Yes.
The Michigan Panthers picked him up from Michigan. Jason Tamu, who was a quarterback at Ole Miss a few years ago. And the third guy is the FIU guy, McCoff, whatever he was. I can't stand him. He blew one of my bets one day. So Alex McCoff.
we have a personal.
I have a personal vendetta with this young man. No, but seriously, and he's going to the Birmingham Stallions again. For me, this was one of the leagues that I grew up with. I loved it, and I loved the idea of them back in the day signing big-time players. Herschel Walker signed with the New Jersey Generals. You had Steve Young with the LA Express. You had all these guys. Sam Mills played in the USFL. Coach Mora, Jim Mora, was the Philadelphia Stars head coach.
Reggie White started in the USFL.
There. So that, to me, we talk about, and we were talking about it before we got back on, the USFL killed itself by trying to go head-to-head with the NFL, which it should never have done. They didn't have enough steam behind them, so they didn't have enough years, enough fanfare. Because I even went back. It's funny because I started going back today to take a look at average attendance. It just so happens that in the years 80 through 85, the NFL was breaking records in attendance.
Right.
They were breaking the 13 million attendance barrier.
Right, and TV was starting to become what it was.
The contract, they had signed a contract with one of the TV.
So I can agree with you more here, Coach. Like, if the USFL had stayed the course and stayed with spring football, because in the big football states, spring football is also really big. Florida, Texas, California, Ohio, you have spring football. It's really big. So people are starting to get back into.
You had some of the teams back then. Some of those teams were outperforming the NFL teams.
Oh no, Coach! Some of those teams could get after it.
The Houston Gamblers had Jim Kelly. They were running the run and shoot. He was slinging it all over the field. It was exciting. Tampa Bay had the Tampa Bay Bandits, which at that time were much better than the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. New Jersey with the Generals. I mean, again, it was just something that in time, I think the NFL would have
grown.
And the NFL would have ended up having to assimilate a certain amount of teams. They would have had to deal with them because they
couldn't ignore it.
They were signing their top players.
Right.
The top guys were playing.
And they were getting, I think what pushed the free agency and the market up forward was USFL, because they were handing out stupid contracts at that time in the 80s, where you only had a handful of players that were signing those contracts in the 80s for the NFL, and they were doling those out in the USFL.
Those guys ended up being NFL All-Pros.
Hall of Famers.
Hall of Famers. Exactly.
Yeah.
Those same guys that were making some of that crazy money were AC played for the Panthers.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, it was crazy. It's just they were drafting these guys that ended up in the NFL 8 years later, or whatever, 2 years later. And
2-3 years later. I think they were maybe 2 to 3 years ahead of their time. And again, we talked about it off air. It had a lot to do with Donald Trump wanting to go head to head with the fall.
And it sucked because he had done a great job by signing
at that
Herschel.
Point, correct.
The team was doing well. I mean, they had even Brian Sipe played in the USFL. It's crazy if you start naming the guys that played in the USFL, and you think about it, the careers that they had in the NFL afterwards. If they would have stuck to the plan and stayed the course, they could have been a thorn in the NFL side.
A force that the NFL could not ignore anymore. By the early 90s, if they would have stayed the course, like you said, they probably would have had to assimilate.
They would have to make some kind of deal.
Or make some kind of deal. Or, coño, there's a league in the spring that's stealing our guys. We got to up the ante. We got to up pay salaries.
No, but even if they did, the situation was that since it was a spring league, the USFL's draft was earlier. So they were screwed. It didn't matter. They were getting April draft. The USFL was already drafting in January or February.
No, and again, you're more adept at it because you lived it. If I'm not mistaken, both those players were open to get drafted by both leagues. Correct?
Of course, they were two separate. They were two separate entities.
Right. So they were getting drafted in both.
They didn't get drafted in both because what happened was most of those guys signed.
Right.
And you're not going to turn down a $7 million contract at that time. You're not going to turn on that money and say, well, maybe they're going to draft me in the NFL. No. I'm signing. I'm going to play.
Bird in the hand is worth two in the bush.
I'm getting top notch money. I'm getting first round money from this league now.
And I'm a D3 guy, right? I played D3 ball. I coach D3 ball.
Again.
Brian Scott, baby, third overall pick for the Philadelphia
maybe one
Stars.
day they'll make a Netflix about this.
Right.
Guy.
Philadelphia Stars, Occidental College. Get them.
God help me.
For the D3 contingent out there.
Southside Ohio or whatever.
For the D3 contingent out there, Occidental College.
As I was saying before we were interrupted by another one of these self-serving rants.
Number three pick in the USFL draft, coach.
The USFL is we'll see how this works out. And now the XFL, which opens up next year, they now have inked a contract with the NFL to do and implement certain strategies with either referees having new refs, new rules. Even I think they're even going to try out that X-Cam again and a bunch of these things that they liked. They're going to do it there and then maybe implement it in the NFL.
It'll be their way of trying exactly everything out down there. And that's a smart move, I think, for the XFL. They've tried this before already a couple times. Hasn't worked out. So now that it's being, I think, co-led by The Rock, I mean, he knows entertainment, I think. He's going to do it right and know that, hey, we're basically going to be the D League for the NFL. Or the B League.
Or the
B League, whatever. Yeah. But just we understand our place. Let's make our money and, try out all your rules. And I'm gonna see some stuff being adapted, I'm sure, by the NFL in the next couple
of years. No doubt.
Well, Grizz, and it's funny you said, like, the XFL went under, yes, there were other issues, but a lot of it was arrogance by Vince McMahon in the first place.
Arrogant man.
Right, very arrogant man, not wanting to acquiesce to seeing the lay of the land.
If you notice, there's a little bit of pattern there.
Yeah, with the USFL, the first iteration of the USFL.
These guys that are self-made millionaires, that are big business guys, that run their own show, they don't like being second fiddle. They don't play well with others, So they try to do more than they really can.
Their whole life they've won at everything to get to that point. So to say now, I'm going to be second to anything.
And it's funny because
it's such a number two thing to do. Like try to be better than number one. I mean, I don't know why people don't understand. Stay in your lane.
I agree. I completely agree with you.
And just do what you got to do.
Yes.
Number one has been established for years. And here we are, coming off the block, bro. The new kid.
New kid off the block.
You know what I'm saying?
I'm gonna unseat number one. Get ready. I'm coming
work
forward.
That way. You gotta work hard to get to number one.
I would like to make a public service announcement. Aside from this, that we are not responsible for any harm done to any individuals outside of this show. Anyway, continuing on. So what do you think is going to be the game plan here for USFL? Do you think that they're going to try to grow and maintain the spring league situation here? Because we already spoke about XFL. They've inked the deal with the NFL. They're going to kind of be that developmental league, a farm system, if you will, or a feeder for in multiple aspects.
Unless the USFL unless the USFL changes its monetary position, and we'll see for next year how it goes and what they're willing to do. Notice that they didn't draft any of the big boys.
No.
Kenny Pickett, Matt Corral. They didn't pick up those quarterbacks.
That would have to have been like a backroom deal.
I'm just trying to say they
Yeah.
didn't draft because they could have drafted him. Maybe they drafted him in round 12. I don't know. You understand where I'm coming from?
I hear you.
That's my whole contention. The way they're already setting it up doesn't look that way. Did anybody take Hutchinson, the Michigan defensive end, who's supposed to be the number one guy
pick, right?
in the NFL? No, nobody took him. So again, I feel just like the Grizz was talking about the XFL being, grade B. The same deal here. The USFL is going to be another grade B league, which sadly, to me, it takes away from what it could be. Because if you could, like for instance, Bellator, if you could try to compete somehow and take some of those young guys or some of those players that could go to the NFL, brother, you can, again, start being a thorn in the NFL side.
Right.
Because we are player-driven. Let's not lie. The NFL is player-driven.
100%.
Every league is player-driven.
Yeah, you're going to have quality coaches here who are looking for a shot. There's quality coaches everywhere. There's a lot of quality coaches who know the game, but that's not the focus, right?
Pep Hamilton was just not too long ago in the AFL as one of the head coaches. And again, many of these coaches are all the same guys, older guys, young guys that are trying to vie into the NFL. If you pay good money, you're going to get good quality coaches.
Right.
And you're going to have a good league, and people will watch it. People will watch it.
No, people will. We know that's one thing for damn sure. If you
and now that gambling's around, people will bet it.
Listen, before
not that I know anyone that would, but people will bet.
Who? What? Huh? But if you look at the leagues that sprouted up before COVID, I mean, it was fun to watch, man. That was good football. Granted, it wasn't marquee names, but it was good. Like, hey, there's this game on. Let's go watch it. Let's go have a couple beers and let's check it out. And it was fun.
It was entertaining.
It was entertaining. It was fun football. And it was football in the springtime. And then we have this pandemic that rolls around and locks everything down. And it kind of killed us. But
it killed the AFL. It destroyed the AFL.
It killed the AFL big time. But yeah, no, this is definitely going to be interesting. And you're looking at some of these names here. And the colleges, that's what's most interesting to me. But great stuff all around. I think it's going to be fun. I think it has big time potential. They got to do it the right way. It's Alex McHugh.
Yeah. McCuff. I'll call him McCuff.
Oh, McCuff.
He cuffs up. He cuffs up everything.
He cuffed you
that
up.
That guy.
Oh, that's fun times.
Horrendous.
That's fun times. All right, I think and let's jump into the actual pro league that's been around for a while, the NFL right now, and talk about the current events in there. Let's talk about Brian Flores, right? Got hired by the Pittsburgh Steelers this past week as a defensive assistant. Yes, he is head coach.
It's somewhat of a reunion with him and
Minka.
Minka. I want to know.
Isn't that going to
Can we?
Are they going to hug up? Are they going to be, hey, what's up? How's that going to go?
Let me tell you something. That's primetime television. If they could get a camera in there,
let me tell you, that's going to be hilarious.
So that's going to be some good stuff there. But, I think this is Pittsburgh's and the ownership and organization saying, we're not going to allow him to get blackballed. And
that was Goodell making a call to those guys.
To the right organization. You think it was Goodell?
Can you guys do me a favor? Can you please sign this guy? That way we don't have a problem. Listen, nobody wants that guy in his staff. That guy, nobody wants that guy. Okay, let's not go so far, okay?
So you're saying he's a pariah.
Let me say something. Your boy that got fired.
My guy.
At the Giants. Where is he back at? Where's he at?
My guy.
Where's your boy at? Who's he coaching with?
First of all.
Oh my gosh.
First of all, I'm giving you the Donald Trump here. Number one, not my guy.
He coached your Giants for 3 years.
But what wasn't my guy?
Whatever.
I didn't hire him.
Whatever. Your former ex-football coach.
Okay.
Ex-head football coach of the Giants. Where is he today? Where is he at?
Yo no sé.
He's back home with the New England Patriots.
Oh, all roads lead back to home, baby.
Go figure. Do you think that if our boy B. Flores was that well-liked and that good contention, he wouldn't have gone right back?
I think you're reading too much into it. I think he doesn't want to go back home there because, in a sense, I feel like that's
because they don't want him back at home.
No, I think that's tucking his tail between his legs, and also that would be another awkward meeting between Bill Belichick and him, being like, "Oh, sorry, kind of effed that one up." You know, wrong texter. Sorry, wrong person. Can't. That's why the old cell phones were the best, where you could. Oh, they haven't received it yet. You can delete it before it goes in.
Like I said, he went to the team where Goodell called and said, "Hey, do you guys have? Yeah, we'll take them."
They're a well-ran, well-insulated organization, which, for a few weeks there had the only African-American head coach. Yes. Is there a possibility?
Because the other 3 or 4 got fired.
Right. Yes. Is there a possibility that, that was a phone call made? Sure. I don't think so. I think that was a Mike Tomlin, like, we're going to hire this guy because he's a quality coach. Don't
forget. The suit is still pending. There's 2 or 3 teams coming after him because he has badmouthed them.
Yeah, it's suit counter suit at this point.
He's tried to put a black eye on those franchises. And those guys are not going to stand down and take that.
Money's always going to win in this situation. Of
course it is. But again, even though money or not, the fact is he was a head football coach on a team whose GM was a black man, whose player personnel man was a black man. And yet, he wants to cite racism for getting fired. Oh, no. I'm sorry. No, you couldn't get along with people. You went through 3 offensive staffs in 3 years. You couldn't figure it out. Look at the offensive staff this guy is putting together in the last 4 weeks. Look at the defensive guys he's getting. He's getting old Dolphins that not only played and were studs, but have been coaching and getting better at the trade. Now those guys are back coaching the team. But the guy... Again, he did some good things. He's decent on defense. The guy's an angry guy. The guy could not get along with people. And we've said that here before. Don't forget, you become the face of the franchise.
You're an angry guy.
No, I am. I know that. But I know how to temper it. I know how to act.
He knows how to abstain.
That's right. I know how to abstain. This is great.
I love it.
So and again, that's why I said he went to the right franchise. Went with the right guys.
Couldn't go to a better franchise.
Couldn't go to a better place.
And the fact that he's gone has led us to reuniting with Madison and Surtain. Man, the world's right in my world now again, man. I love those guys. I can't wait to see our.
Where'd those guys get you when they were players?
Oh, they got us the playoffs, man, and got us some good games, man, and that's all I can ask for them. They can't win me everything. They did their part, though.
And I want to throw in one more caveat that I know we didn't mention it, but I'm going to go ahead and throw it in there. We do have to say that Mr. Frank Ponce is back in Miami.
Yep.
Yeah, baby.
He is the quarterback coach and the passing game coordinator of the University of Miami Hurricanes. That's another staff.
We're loving
that's being put well together.
Look at who our linebackers coach is, man. An ex-head coach of 2 teams, a great defensive coordinator when he was with the Gators.
And a great recruiter.
Hey, this team, all you can ask for from Maito right now is getting our staff together and the recruiting went up. That's all. And the questions are, the guy can't do the X's and O's on game day. That will be seen in the future. But let me tell you, if he doesn't, he's got a bunch of guys he can go talk to. And I'm telling you, the expectations, unfortunately, are rising now. I expect
but Coach,
an ACC divisional championship at least.
But Grizz and Coach, that's not unfortunate. He's rising to the expectations that this area has always had.
I'm not saying...
What I'm saying is but I think
what
Grizz is trying to say is
unfortunate because my hopes always
they're spending the money.
Yeah,
they are spending the money. The staff is a well-rounded staff.
Correct. No, and I agree with all that.
The players now have to step up and they have to play. Because
they're
at the end of the day,
right.
it's about the guys performing on the field.
I say that because everybody still is, we don't know if he's going to do this or that, even with the staff. I get that. But the only thing we can judge him currently is how he's building this team.
Correct.
And right now, the building of the staff.
And year one.
And so far, you would give him an A?
Oh, it's check
in the
mark,
letter grade.
check mark.
Yeah. So we're going to see now if that will produce W's in game day, and I believe it will.
Now, year one, I do think, again, I do want to temper my expectations because of year one, because it is a change of culture, change of mentality, change on things, how they're done.
Yeah, you got to scrape some old paint off the walls.
Okay? So, again, next year, I do think they can win 9 games. There's no doubt in my mind that they can win 9 games. Now, year 2, that's when I think that our quarterback will be better established in this offense. Our offensive line, our run game, all those things will, again, be better established offensively. And the defense as well. The defense has to go through a transformation because the defense was very
Vanilla.
turnover. It was not, no, they were not vanilla because he liked the blitz. Manny Diaz blitzes. But they're very turnover. No, he does. He's very turnover oriented. And you cannot be turnover oriented because that is the most volatile statistic there is year in and year out.
Hey,
you can't
it's
count
like the 3. You live by it, you die by it.
You can't count on turnovers. You have to have consistent defenses that are 3 and out, limited drives, inside the 20 red zone defense. You give up field goals, things like that. That's what you hang your hat on defense.
Defensively, listen, I've never been a big. I haven't worried about. The main statistic is scoring defense to me, right? Like if you keep them out of the end zone, listen, give up all the freaking yards that you want, keep them out of the end zone, you're winning ball games. That's always been my thing. You know what I'm saying? Especially now in this spread out, spread heavy offense era that we're in. Listen, you wanna toss the ball around the yard, you wanna go up tempo, you wanna do all this stuff. Cool. Talk to me when you get into 20 when the field condenses. And that's where, because they're going to gain the yards in this era. Talk to me when you get into 20. What are you doing in the red zone?
One of the keys to winning and establishing that scoring defense you're talking about is third down conversion.
100%. That's
those
another
are
key
the
statistic.
small pillars that build up to what you're talking about.
Right.
And that's what I'm speaking about. Those are the times, again, every time you go back over the last 3 or 4 years, our defense was not a 3 and out defense. Our defense gave up the yards and could not get people off the field when we needed them to. And that is to me, that is the key to success. If we can do that and now you sprinkle in a little turnover here and there,
phenomenal.
Baby, now you are on easy street. You got me? The issue comes in when that becomes the key to your defense.
No, you're not, because it's not always going to happen.
It can't. Exactly.
Yeah. And that's what I was saying is, listen, again, defensive guy coming up. Give up all the yards you want. Your key statistic, coach, like you said, is your third down conversions and your scoring defense.
Hold them to 3 when they get to the 20. You hold the field goals, we score touchdowns.
If you do that, listen, gain 600 yards on me. You're not getting in the end zone. I'm keeping you out of the end zone. You're kicking field goals. We're winning that game 70 to 75% of the time.
So again, I love the staff. I think things are working out well. Hopefully we'll have Coach Ponce on here again soon. And we'll talk a little bit of recruiting and stuff like that.
Took the words right out of my mouth. It could have been a better hire because Josh Gaddis is a run-heavy guru. And I think that they brought on the perfect guy. You know, X's and O's, phenomenal. But even more so, bringing in and recruiting, right? The blocking off. If you've seen, the 30 for 30s, making that state of Miami again. That's where Frank Ponce makes his money. Because that's where Appalachian State has became a rising star, if you will, in college football.
Job. If you take a look at the quarterbacks that he's coached,
100%.
The kids up at App State, good. The kid over at Louisville,
amazing,
is a stud. So the knowledge is there.
Yeah, I think Josh Gaddis and him, I mean, it has the potential to be lights out. So, phenomenal points all around, gentlemen. And welcome back for our last segment of Two Coaches, One Grizz for the week. We're going to touch on some MMA here. We just all there looked at the Johnny Walker, Jamel Hill knockout that guy, and I don't want to steal Grizz's thunder because he's gonna give his 2 cents about it. But wow, what an incredible freaking knockout, Coach. I mean, walk us through it.
I told you guys that fight was going to be fireworks. I said it. Both guys have knockout power, and Jamal Hill incredible. That's one of the ugliest and prettiest knockouts you'll ever see in any sport.
Grizz, would you like to walk us
Grizz,
through?
when we played in slow motion, what do you get to see?
Well, if you can find the replay online and you slow it down right when it grazes his head and he has this like jolting reaction, you can slow it down and see really, I'm being honest, you can see his soul travel outside of the body. Sort of like a Mortal Kombat game with Shang Tsung going, here, let me get this, finish him. He was finished. It was over.
It was
disgusting.
Well, again, and we talked about it. Like I said, I didn't put any money on the fight because I wanted to see how it played out because I knew both guys could knock either one of them out. It was going to be quick. I just didn't think it was going to be that quick and that impressive. Jamal Hill is a true banger. Incredible. Great job. And two, Johnny Walker has been knocked out a couple times already. That's one of his downfalls. He's not a very,
put this number one on his list.
Yeah. It's his number one. This is definitely number one.
YouTube sensation on this one. So this was a light heavyweight fight, right, Coach? It was a fight night last Saturday. How does this bode going forward? Like you said, Jamal Hill's got
Jamal
some
Hill's
potential.
moving up. Jamal is a striker, super heavy puncher. He does an excellent job of preparing. He's been moving up very quickly, and this was supposed to be a fight for Mr. Walker to again win a second fight in a row and put himself back in position
to be in a main event situation.
Correct, and challenge for a title. But that has been washed away.
Bye-bye.
That as his soul left his body, so did the championship aspiration.
The aspiration.
Very disturbing.
But this weekend there is a couple of fights. There's the Bellator fights on Showtime pay-per-view. There's a guy fighting there. His name is Grigard Mousasi. He fought in the UFC. He is the middleweight champion of Bellator. He has gotten there and he has taken over the middleweight division. He is one of the best pound-for-pound fighters in the world. It doesn't matter that he's in Bellator. He was doing very well in UFC. He decided to leave because he was not getting the chance. He was not getting the opportunity at championships. And he's gone over there and he's just
laid waste to the land.
Taken over that whole division. We also have a fight night with the UFC. That one is not really a very impressive fight night. There's no big names, but as usual, we will have some good fights. The main event. The main event has Bobby Green in it. I had to check it 3 times. Bobby Green just fought 10 days ago.
That's insane.
He won. He won a week ago, 10 days ago, and he's back at it with one of the better fighters in the UFC. We'll see. He is a knockout guy. So we'll see how this goes. He's going against someone who is more of a wrestler. He does strike as well. I guess he's one of the better European fighters that the UFC has.
So, Coach, let's circle back to Gregor. Was it Mousasi? Mousasi, real quick. Is because of the success that he's had in Bellator, do you see him making a second run at UFC? Because that middleweight division is stacked in UFC.
The thing is,
so
unless he's going to get promised a huge payday, okay, and a championship fight right off, his name skips my mind. The gentleman that fought, that got knocked out in 30 seconds by our boy, the Cuban sensation.
Masvidal?
By Masvidal. Masvidal knocked out. It was a 30-second knockout. He had just beat Robbie Lawler, and then he came to fight.
It wasn't the flying knee.
It was a flying knee.
There was
5 seconds.
Correct. Okay. He had come over And he was supposed to be on a fast track for a championship fight. Except he ran into a knee. It didn't work out.
He ate a knee.
Correct. Mousasi is someone that would come in to do that. If they're going to bring him in, it's to fight for a championship. He's not going to give up a championship and winning and doing what he's doing over there to come back to the UFC to then try to beat a couple of contenders to be able to fight Usman.
So how does that work? Like, would he sign a contract and immediately be in a championship fight, or he's got to fight at least one fight to make?
No, he would be the number one contender. They would sign him. He would be the number one contender.
Got you.
And he would come over to fight Usman. And again, that would be that really would be a huge, because he is good. He is good. I have to check and see how old he is.
And Usman, and I mean that would potentially, like, obviously we're talking, in hypotheticals here, and that would be right off of Usman just got a hand surgery to fix some tendons in his hand, so that would be him being a little rusty coming back to.
See, the problem is he's getting up in age. He's 36 years old. He's 36.
How old is Usman's in his mid 30s as well, right?
Early 30s. I want to say he's about 33, 34.
So that's immediately got my attention there.
It would be a top notch fight, just because of the experience that Mousasi has, and he is a good fighter. He's extremely good. Yeah, Usman is 34.
Okay,
right?
It's a couple year difference there.
Correct.
Right.
But that's what I'm trying to say, that it's not like he can go another year or two.
But I would imagine
now we're pushing 38.
Right, and I would imagine that Usman's a lot more fresh. This guy's had a lot more
He's
fights.
45-7.
Yeah. Okay. So yeah, that makes a lot of sense, for sure. All right. No, that's good stuff. And please, if you have a chance, go on YouTube, look up Johnny Walker versus Jamel Hill, and look at that knockout. As you said, you might see a spirit leave a carnal body.
Incredible.
Right? It was.
Yeah, leave a comment if you find the spirit and circle it for us.
Yeah, circle it for us. Send it over. We'll post it. But again, as we always say at the end of it, give us feedback, comment, share, right? Grow our following, grow our legion of listeners and followers.
And listen, I do want to say that for those of you that reached out, we heard your cries. We told Mr. Morales, Mr. Frankie No Morals, that he's got to be careful what he says on the radio. I mean, on the podcast. I want to apologize. Make sure
I'm not apologizing.
Yeah, of course not. That's your MO.
Yeah.
You don't apologize. You're wrong, and you never say you're wrong. And again,
it's our podcast.
As I said, please keep listening to us in spite
give us feedback.
In spite of Morales, please keep listening to us. I mean, we'll do with.
Yeah, if we get the following, we'll definitely start up a separate show with as many colorful words as you want, or maybe we'll do like a spelling bee contest since you love all these fancy words.
We'll put William Wallace on the side road here.
Die on this hill.
Once again, guys, before we end this show, I do want to update everybody. It was a very sad showing for the U.S. curlers. The men finished in 4th. The women finished in 6th. Very sad. I don't even want to talk about it. Next year, we're coming back strong, though. 4 years from now, I don't even know where they're playing it. But I'm telling you, watch out for those curlers.
Okay, that was our Olympic update. But yes, subscribe, follow, share, give us feedback. Social media, Instagram, everything else, Twitter. We got give us some feedback there, and we're here for you guys. We wanna talk about what you guys want to hear. So let us know what's up with that. Coaches, Grizz, it's been amazing this week.
As always a pleasure.
2 coaches, 1 Grizz. Out.